Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum. I'm very honored that I've been invited to speak on a subject of great significance, collaboration. And collaboration in academia, I feel, is one of those difficult monsters that we need to conquer, because it is only through collaboration that we can synergize and make this ecosystem, which is so technically enabled, that we can leverage a lot of information and knowledge residing in universities amongst research scholars and also students who can join hands and participate in developing amazing content for the benefit of so many of us who could learn, grow, develop, and indeed contribute. So I'm very, very pleased that Hybrid Institute has organized such an important event, which is an all Pakistan online education summit. And frankly, the subject itself, though one word, is laden with meaning and challenges. You can't talk about collaboration without leadership. And while I was preparing for this talk, I came across a very cogent document which highlights not only the benefits in academia of collaboration, but also suggests certain action steps. So before I go into the challenges, I'd like to just talk about those benefits very, very quickly. For example, I came across 7 benefits. The first one is that new applications for research methodologies will be developed. Stimulation of new interdisciplinary fields will be witnessed. Increased productivity, opportunities to develop leadership skills, and opportunities to develop communication skills. Access to new funding streams, and I think that becomes very, very critical as we go forward, and increased opportunities for meaningful impact in society. So these are some of the benefits of collaboration in the academia. And over here, the research study found that 79% of researchers said that collaboration makes them more productive. And the source is jobs.ac.uk survey. So I think I've shared this with our friend Anam Rashid. I will request her to share this paper with our vice chancellors, research scholars, entrepreneurs, students who are listening and participating in this summit. Please do that. And the 5 action steps that are recommended at the end of this study point to the challenges that I'm going to talk about right now. And those action steps, if I may just very quickly mention those to you. Number 1 is build a winning team. The second is agree a common goal. The third is find the right tool for the job. And then, of course, appoint a leader and support them. And finally, know when to seek help. Now, if you notice, all of these action steps are requiring in us immense leadership qualities. And leadership comes from awareness not only of ourselves, awareness of others around us within our own institutions and people in other institutions who are working to develop content and curriculum of a quality that would enable our students to become much more confident and much more visionary in order to contribute in our society. Now, when we speak of leadership, it's not only awareness of self and others, it is also awareness of the environment and the ecosystem of which we are a part. Fortunately, we must commend all those who are working in the field of IT, that Pakistan is not lagging behind in any way. Ever since COVID-19 hit us, we have seen how quickly individuals working from home migrated to technology using Zoom, StreamYard, Skype, and so many other platforms. And most universities responded very favorably towards this challenge, where they were shut down, but at the same time, the learning process continued, albeit not with the same level of engagement as one would have liked. But then through technology, we are being able to deliver content, and students are being able to engage with professors and faculty in order to clear their minds with regards to some of the questions that are bothering them. So having said this, awareness is the first part. The second part, I would say, is vision. vision is so critical for vice chancellors in particular and research scholars who are engaged in very useful work for the country. They need to also at the same time have a vision of what are they trying to produce, because unless you have a vision which is compelling, you will not be able to enroll others in your effort. And it is necessary that the vision is not only clear, it is attractive, it is meaningful, it is significant, and it is viewed as something that everyone reading it and discovering it feels a part of. So that is the second part that I feel that leadership needs to bring out and share with great confidence and enthusiasm. So after awareness and vision, what we also need to be is inspired. And individuals are inspired when they are imbued with a sense of possibility and they do not see obstacles as roadblocks, but they see obstacles as stepping stones to move forward, regardless of the hurdles. Because when we talk of collaboration, it may be romanticized, attractive as a proposition, but the truth of the matter is collaboration is not very easy. A lot of things can go wrong, particularly when you're working on a project and some of our members in the team who are pushed by other priorities may delay their contribution to a particular task that would ultimately put the entire project on hold or delay it significantly. And then funders would, of course, wonder what went on. So leadership challenge is largely to keep everyone on track, to have lots of communication, and communication not just through emails, but personal, face-to-face conversations, conversations on the phone. Very, very practical, because unless we keep ourselves connected through communication, we would not be able to move forward. And inspiration comes when you lead by example. And here, I'm not just talking of someone who's leading the project. A project leader is also working with leaders who are also followers. And leadership and followership always goes hand in hand. And depending on the very cogent task that one is pursuing, and everyone is willingly committed to it, it is important that we not only ensure that we are connected, we are communicating, but we are aligned in order to synergize the information that we have in the academic and the research context. Because here, when we are inspired, we are not only leading by example, we are also very innovative. And I find that right now, status quo tends to be very, very high, particularly in institutions in Pakistan. And we get stuck in bureaucracy, we get stuck in a lot of red tape, and trying to cut through those is definitely one of those obstacles that we have to see how to encounter and let go. And at the same time, our insecurities as individuals, our egos also get in the way of true contribution that we can make in this context. So with awareness, with vision, with inspiration, the fourth and the most important thing that leadership needs to demonstrate is responsibility. Now, responsibility is zero blame. And I mean that whenever I find myself or I find anyone blaming someone else for non-conformance, non-compliance, well, then that is when I'm actually walking away from a responsibility that I took. So it's crucial that everyone who's collaborating is not only aligned with the vision, but is also taking responsibility for the tasks that he or she has taken responsibility for, and demonstrates ownership. And frankly, the formality of it is one part. The real work happens when we informally pursue a goal with the kind of passion that truly inspires. And ultimately, it's the actions that we need to take in order to achieve outcomes that not only benefit our stakeholders, but our community and our society at large. So that is really the drift that I'm getting at. Now, what is the biggest question in this whole arena of collaboration? It is leadership, as I mentioned earlier. And leadership begins by facing tough realities, as Professor Heifetz at Harvard once said, that the tough realities are not necessarily out there. because whenever we think of challenges, we view them external to ourselves. The truth of the matter is that, yes, there are external challenges and they can be overcome, but the bigger challenge is within us all, within us all. The challenge within us is that we need to open our minds, free ourselves of bias, and also remember that we are always going to be students who are in the business of teaching. The day I start thinking that my job is to teach others and I know what I know and I'm going to teach it, then I'm actually becoming a victim of arrogance myself. So it's crucial that we remain humble, because I have read one definition which truly resonates with me, and I'm sure as you listen to it, you will also find it very significant and meaningful. The definition of education is our progressive realization of our ignorance. Because no matter what you know, what I know, whatever that is a fraction, a small fraction of what there is to know about anything, about anyone. And I feel that the moment we become students, we embrace humility, that our leadership will come through. Because knowledge is so interesting that the more we acquire knowledge, the more we realize how little we know.